Today I want to talk about an article I read called Consumer Spending Engine of the U.S. Economy is Under Strain. This article talks about how the resilient consumer of the last couple of years might be facing some challenges. Particularly, the article opens talking about gas prices and how people that even don't drive to work, don't drive at all, actually, are still seeing prices go up. At the grocery store, you're seeing fuel surcharges on your food. And one of the quotes was, at the end of the week, you used to have 1 or 2 nickels to rub together, and they're not there anymore. Another thing it talks about is wealth effects, the top end of the K that's been so popular to talk about lately, and how there's been a recent challenge to that in the stock market decline. Not so true today, honestly. It's pretty much back to where it was. But anyway, the article talks about these two things and how the consumer has been under a lot of pressure and how they've been able to keep powering the U.S. economy over the last few years. But there are a few interesting data points that are challenging the U.S. consumer these days. One of those is that real wage growth has slowed to year-over-year rates not seen since 2013. The personal savings rate, excluding 2022 was a weird year, has fallen to levels not seen since 2008. And the a survey of consumer sentiment at the University of Michigan actually today fell to an all-time record low of 47.4. So safe to say, consumers aren't feeling very good these days. Now, the article transitions to talking about the wealth effects and the top end of the K some more. There's a quote from an economist that talks about how we used to teach that the stock market isn't the economy, that they're pretty separate. But these days, it's looking more like the stock market is a lot of the economy because of the wealth effects, where stocks going up leads to more consumer spending, which translates directly to GDP. That leads into a quote from another economist, which states, she says, it's a nice rule of thumb she establishes. She said, to have any material impact on GDP growth, we'd probably need to see $100 a barrel oil or a 20% or greater decline in the stock market. And either of these would need to be sustained for weeks or months in order to knock any significant percentage off of GDP. In fact, the article mentions that GDP estimates by Vanguard and another company, which I can't remember right now, have only been revised down by about 0.2% this year, even despite the Iran war, well over $100 barrel oil, and a large decline in the stock market at the beginning of the year. One thing that does provide some support, very interestingly, that I hadn't thought about, is this year's tax refunds. Tax refunds are a lot bigger this year after the tax cuts that passed last year. And additionally, the stock market has recovered. So those wealth effects are definitely still in play. So that's the article I read today. We'll see how things play out in the future. Thank you.